What's up, everyone? Welcome into another episode of the Run Your Day podcast. As always, Dan Hafner here, coming at you with another episode inside of the theme of expansion. Today's topic is this: 2 steps forward, 1 step back. As always, thank you for joining. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode.
Welcome to the Run Your Day podcast, where our goal is to expand your focus and perspective on life. This is your daily dose of motivation, mindfulness, and so much more. And now, here to help you take your day back, your host, Dan Hafner.
All right, everybody. Welcome into the show again. Last episode in this theme of expansion. Been some I've really enjoyed these episodes this week talking about this, especially because it's near and dear to my heart. And I definitely look forward to talking about this again in the future. I would like to come back to this theme of expansion. It's a pretty fun topic to talk about. One, because it's the expansion is never ending. It's always something that you can keep going on and keep trying to get better at. And it's something that even if you give up on it for a while, you can always come back to. And that's kind of my little segue here into the topic of the day of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. If you sit down and take the time to think about like how things usually go inside of your goals or inside of your life, whatever you're trying to do, you usually don't take a linear progression to things, right? Like the road to success, they say, the road to success is filled with bumps and turns and bruises and all kinds of crap, right? Like you expect in your mind, you expect to start at point A and point B is up the hill, like on a little incline, right? And you expect, it's just a straight line right there. And in reality, you end up going backwards and upwards and downwards and sideways and this way and that way. And then finally you get there and it's like, looks like a 2-year-old took a crayon and just drew all over the page. And then it ends up there finally. And in all honesty, that's how a lot of things are going to go when you're trying to chase after things, when you're trying to achieve success, when you're trying to make money or make a fitness goal or start a business or do anything. Like there are so many twists and turns and hidden things that come along, and it's like, wow, I didn't expect this. How am I going to deal with this now? And then, well, I thought I had made this, this amount of strides in what I was doing, and turns out I haven't made that many more strides. So really, if you think about this progression of 2 steps forward and 1 step back, in a lot of things, we do tend to take, you start from zero, you take 1 step forward, you take another step forward, something comes along and makes you take a step back. But you're still 1 step forward from where you started, right? We have a tendency in our minds, I think, as human beings to kind of magnify losses and undervalue wins, When we are in a position where we actually have a victory and we experience a win, I think, at least I don't do this. I know some of you out there probably do the same thing. You probably don't give yourself enough credit. Probably just say like, I accomplished my goal. Okay, on to the next thing. You don't take time to actually appreciate that, like, hey, I'm farther along than I planned to be at this point, or like, hey, I actually accomplished something and that was pretty awesome, So, but then when we get knocked down or we have a setback, it's just this big, ugly mess in your head of like, oh man, what am I doing? I suck at this. I'm a failure. I'm never going to succeed. And at least I know I operated like this for a long time, and I'm sure a lot of you out there can relate. It gets magnified in your mind as to something it's way worse than it might actually be. I remember my college football coach, Coach Matlack. Hope he's out there listening someday. He always would say when we would watch film about our football games, was that it's never as good as you think. It's never as bad as you think. And I have found this to be true in so many different areas. I know, like, sometimes my wife will come home and she'll tell me about a situation that happened with her at work. And I don't always tell her, but I've told her many, many times that I can remember, like, hey, like, it's not as bad as you think, but it's not as good as you think. You know, we have a tendency in our minds to go to extremes, right? We can get so high on something and we can get so low on something. And what a lot of us, I think, need to take time to realize is that as long as you're still moving forward, as long as you are still regrouping, refocusing, and still planting your feet in the ground, you're moving forward. It might feel like you have lost all that you've gained. It might feel like, you know, you're say, I'll use fitness as an example. You're making progress, you're getting back in shape, you're making strides, you're improving your running time or biking time or triathlon time or whatever you're doing. And then all of a sudden something comes up, you have to take a few days off, you don't get out there, you just, whatever happens. And then the next time you go out there, you're like, oh, my time's worse, or I'm getting a little fatter, I gained 5 pounds back, or like whatever happens. And we have a tendency to just be like, oh, well, and then it's just a slippery slope from there. And then you just go back to where you started. But if you can realize that you have the choice to course correct, you have the choice to say, nope, that's it. Okay. I fell back. I failed a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to start again and I'm going to keep going because I'm starting from a place that is better than when I originally started. I'm still up the mountain. And when you're climbing a mountain, you go up, you go up, you go up, you fall back down a little bit. You're still in the middle there. You're still going up and up and up and up. You slip back down, you're still higher than you were before. You go up and up and up, and it just repeats itself. So my challenge for you today is think about a recent time, or even if something happens today, think about a situation inside of one area of your life where you're not giving yourself enough credit, one, for your wins, and two, you're magnifying your losses to be worse than they actually are. So think about where in your life you are taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and that 1 step back is really not that big of a deal, but you make it to be a big deal. You make a mountain out of a molehill. So that is my challenge for you today. 1, where are you not giving yourself enough credit? And 2, where are you noticing that your 1 step back is magnified and throwing you off your game? Okay, so that's my challenge for you today. As always, feel free to share any of your revelations or your insights with these challenges with me via the Anchor app. You can send me a direct message. As always, would love to feature you on the show with any revelations or insights that you might have. And also, if you just have any kind of comments about the show, or you have any topic ideas or questions for me, would love to feature someone on the show here someday. Always go ahead and follow me on Twitter and like me on Facebook. Our Twitter page is Runwage. It's at Runwage, capital RUN, capital WAGE. And our Facebook page is, again, Runwage. So that is my little plug for my social networks here. I'm also going to get an Instagram page set up here at some point, hopefully this weekend. So that is the show for today. Going to wrap up the week of expansion. I hope you guys enjoyed these shows. Going to have another great topic for you next week. I won't spoil it yet because it's going to be a really, really good one. I'm really excited about it. So be sure to tune in next week. Think about your challenge for today. Give yourself some credit. And remember that the 1 step back is never as bad as you think it is. Thank you very much for joining. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and we will come at you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Run Your Day podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, feel free to share today's show with friends and family. Until next time, have a great day.